Hey family, hey family, hey family. It is your girl, Mrs. Michelle Allen Franklin. Yes, honey, Mrs. Michelle D.I. Why? For divine intervention, honey, because you know there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Mrs. Community Builder, why? Because you know your girl gonna give you the good information, boo. The things you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions, honey. And y'all know it is the month of March, and all month long, honey, I have been bringing you amazing, phenomenal women that have inspired and empowered my walk, honey. And y'all know this beautiful spirit I have today, honey, is no exception.
Yeah.
This beautiful spirit I have today. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, honey. We go all the way back to my mountain days.
All the way back. Yeah.
All the way back to my mountain days, honey. This beautiful spirit right here. You know, she's the best. I'm gonna say it because ain't nobody gonna stop me from saying she the best.
Yes.
Medical assistant at the Mount. The
You
best.
know what? Listen, sent by the Lord only.
The best medical assistant at the Mount. Sherrise, how you doing, boo?
I'm doing good. It's Friday. The Lord has waken me up. I'm refreshed, ready for today.
I know that's right. I know that's right, honey. Again, me and this beautiful spirit met when I was at Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital. Y'all hear me talk about the Mount. That's my first 13 years of my nursing career was at Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital. And if this chick was working with you, honey, you know that them babies was going to be taken care of from being on the unit. And then we were over in the outpatient department together. And when I first came over to the outpatient department, me and her sat. I didn't sit inside with the nurses. I sat out with
That's right.
medical assistants. There was just a lot of politics going on. I didn't want to be all in. There was just a lot of negativity going on at that period of point of time. And so I was like, I'm sitting out here. So we got to know each other, you know, I think on a different level. And so I think that just made a difference. You know what I mean? Just being together, working day to day. I really saw her heart. You know, I knew she was a hard worker already. You know what I mean? Like, I knew you were already a hard worker, but seeing just your love, you know, for our patients, you know. But we're going to get all into that, or how that started for you on your journey there. But girl, tell me how you been. How you doing, boo?
Can't complain. Listen, life's been lifing, but as you can see, we stand above. Like they said, the whole world falling apart, but us black people around here trying to learn that new dance. So that's what we doing. I'm gonna spend my Friday today trying to figure that out because I'm gonna get me a fan and be at the cookout this summer.
Girl, I know I'm about to listen. I've been
Send out some fans because I know y'all got some fans down there in Texas. Send out some fans up here.
Girl, we better have
a cookout.
Stay hot.
Yes, listen, send out some fans because now everybody want a fan. The price of fans has went up, and I was like, look, we need us some fans, okay?
Just for that one song, you ain't lying.
Yeah.
Just for that one song, honey. And you know we buying
it. We need it. We need it. About 2-3 of them, but we need it.
That part right there. If you in Texas, you better not mess around with no fan. You better be in the AC.
Hot.
The fan been melted away. I'm gonna tell you right now. Maybe in the spring, but come to
really
100,000 degrees there. Yes, honey.
See, I visited Texas in April when I came down for we had a Praise International Conference with our church. So I came down there. It was mid-April, so I didn't really get to experience the whole Texas weather.
April. That's a good time to come. It's nice. You can, you know, it's still but honey, that's summertime. I'm not complaining because it beats those blizzards and the storms and
yeah, could be worse.
I don't miss those. No. But honey, let's talk about you. I want to talk about, like I said, you have such a heart for taking care of, I mean, not just the children, but people in general. Where did that come from?
Well, my mother used to work at Children's Hospital, which in Baltimore City is located on Green Spring Avenue. And
Mhm.
she used to care for sick children.
Wow.
And my sister and I sometimes, of course, us, we thought it was a treat to be able to visit her job. We would walk through the halls, sometimes meet her in the cafeteria, see the different children, see the various things that was wrong with them. And even at a kid at 5 and 6 years old, I realized that I had so much compassion for those who were sick and needed some help because other people saw them as like, disease ridden or just on their deathbed. And I just saw people who needed some help, who needed love. So because my mother worked there, she always made me want to just work with children, sick children. And my mother was always like the big gaddy of the neighborhood. We lived in Park Heights and everyone knew Pam. If she wasn't babysitting your kids, she was braiding hair. So all of those things came from there. And as a young child, I was always the one. I'll hold your baby. I'll watch your baby. I'll give him a bath. I was like the old lady in the shoe. My mother used to say all the time, you're always trying to gather up someone or some kids. And I always felt like I just needed to be of an assistance and help.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, she worked at a nursing home growing up. So I was surrounded by those who always worked with people that were sick in need. So when I got older, probably about 6 or 7, I always said, I'm going to go work with children. I'm going to own my own daycare. I'm going to go work with children. And the commercial used to come across the TV with the children in Africa that was to feed the homeless. We would cry and always say, we're going to go over there and get all the kids. So I actually feel like I'm living out that dream now at 40 years old.
Wow. Wow, honey, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. I love that. And that it explains a lot because you're really good with the children, but you're also so amazing with the parents as well because you had that gamut of life between your mom and your grandmother. That's beautiful.
And we had my aunt who she probably died at maybe 29. I was about 9 or 10 years old. She had fallen when she was 5 years old, hit her head on the fire hydrant and cement. And after that, she started having grandma seizures. So before then, of course, that was the early 70s. I was nowhere to be born. But after talking with my grandmother and my aunt when we were kids and them giving us the backstory and the history, that she started having what was absent seizures and then started having grandma seizures. So it's not quite sure if she had those absent seizures before she had fallen at 5 or beforehand, but she was at Johns Hopkins. They was trying to figure out back in the day, they would put you in a bubble when they didn't understand, trying to give you oxygen, hyperbaric chamber things. And we grew up in a home where we had a disabled aunt. She had grandma seizures. She actually had brain injury. So she had a helmet. And 90% of the day when she was up, she would put a helmet on walking around. We were kids, 6 years old. And we would go over. Aunt Gail was playing. She don't have her helmet. So walking out, Aunt, who was 24 years old, to the bathroom, to use the bathroom, she would feed herself, but we learned how to help and feed her. So I always had that nurturing and that passion around me. So it grew even more inside of me. So being able to help not only just the children, but the adults and the adolescents all came from home. It started in our home.
Oh, sweetie, that's beautiful. That's beautiful to connect it all. Some kids would be afraid, you know what I mean? But I think just the way your heart posture is set up, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's amazing. You can tell that your love for people is so genuine, from just how you are and what you do. And it even goes outside of, because I can remember you'll be saying, so-and-so needs this or so-and-so needs that, or this happened. It was a fire. And so you would go and try to help in that way, getting clothes.
I still do the same thing.
I'm like, this girl is on it. Like, she is amazing. You're like,
so I'm like the primary MA for the lead clinic we have now. And it's sad that in 2025, that lead paint poison is still as high as it is. And I cannot justify or put the numbers correct, but it's almost up there. As many kids as being diagnosed with lead as many kids being diagnosed with diabetes. Juvenile diabetes, when we were growing up in the 80s and 90s, was quite a few. Now it's a lot. And lead paint, everyone had it, but you would think in 2025, how is it that lead paint is actually going, it's spread wild as those with diabetes and ADHD? And I find myself sometimes at work like, oh my gosh, what can I do to kind of facilitate and help this family a little bit more outside of the resources that they're getting here? Because some of the parents don't want to speak up and say, hey, I don't have clothes. At Thanksgiving, I'm walking around, I'm driving to people's houses, delivering Thanksgiving baskets and Christmas baskets and getting clothes for my kids and friends and neighborhoods. and dropping it off. You're not supposed to do those things, but my heart and my passion goes beyond the four walls of my job, and some people don't understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love it just being unapologetically you, honey, and who you're supposed to be and who God is
Yeah.
to be.
Knowing your purpose, and that's my purpose. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. And like I said, it's so genuine. And those people need you. You are an angel in those people's lives. And who knows
Yeah.
when you're going to be in a situation like that. So you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? You have to,
Absolutely.
I always say be obedient to the spirit, honey. Be obedient to
Yes.
the
Honey, because when you're not, it'll shake you until you answer, okay?
I know that's real.
Listen, you'll have a first Samuel. You'll have a first Samuel moment. Listen, Eli said, "Hey, next time you say it, it is not me that's calling you. Tell him thy servant listens, thy servant will obey." And I've had those moments, so I'm tired of being beat. I want to be obedient. Okay.
What'd you say, boy? You tired of being beat?
Listen. Sanctification and justification all come the same place with discipline. And God, I'm telling you, I'm tired of being disciplined. I'm listening today, God. I hear you,
Yes.
Faith over fear, because fear tries to scream louder than faith at times.
It does. It really does. Obedience has come up so many times in this series. And I know myself, I was working I remember a couple years ago, I got to tell this story real quick. I'm working with obedience, right? And you know how sometimes you are and sometimes you're not, like you're saying, right? Sometimes you like, oh, okay. And
double dutch, like in, out.
Right. So I'm dipping back and forth. And this was a period of time where the Lord was like, no, everything, not just you want, I everything, do it, listen, right? And so I got a new car about 2.5, 3 years ago. And so I'm parking my car underneath this tree, right? And so something in my spirit was like, the spirit was telling me to move the car, right? I'm parking right here, move the car. 2 weeks, Sherrise, move the car. Every time I would back in, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow, right? 2 weeks. Girl, I backed in. This was Labor Day weekend. I backed in. My spirit loud said, move the car. I said, oh man, I'm tired. I got to, right? I was like, I'm tired. Okay, I'll start tomorrow. Girl, I was in my house for about 20 minutes on the phone with the insurance company, and a branch fell on my car. Big old branch engulfed my whole car.
Wow.
It's a new car. Engulfed my whole car. I was like,
3 times. And number 3.
Let me tell you something. I walked outside. I just shook my head. I couldn't even be upset. Like, I couldn't be mad about.
Like, oh Lord, I heard you, but I didn't. Listen, my flesh won.
I walked down the stairs and I just said, Lord, I'm sorry. Just like that. I was like,
wow.
Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Girl, but in the lesson, this how you know it's God, because he don't cause you any harm, but he does send us messages. That tree, my car, it should have broke my window, right? My window should have been, the car should have been all scratched up. I mean, this branch was huge. It was like a mini tree. No, nothing is wrong with my car.
Wow.
Just the men literally it took 2 men to saw. My neighbors out there sawing, picking the branch. This how heavy they are. They picking them up. He got one side, he got this how heavy the branch is. My car should be messed up.
No damage. Yeah.
No damage to my car. It was a message. It was a message, girl, when I tell you. And I was like, look, I'm like this. Yes, sir.
Hands up. I hear you.
I'm sorry.
I hear you. Yes.
Girl, but he really knows. It's so true. It's so true. Especially when you know you have purpose on you. And I know for sure you have purpose on you. And so knowing, and being obedient to the spirit, girl, we got to do it.
I'm tired of getting beat, yes. Tired of it.
I love it. I love it. Well, when we were together, I every year, before I became the manager of the outpatient department, I know you would have periods of time when you were going through some grief, And the way that your spirit is set up, I remember you would work, on the days that you would be grieving. For me, I'm always like, take those days off or take that time that you need. And I remember coming to you saying, you're not working on this day. I need you. I don't care what you do.
I would be so mad. Listen, I need to come. I need to focus,
Yeah. And I think that is one of the things when you go through, because tragically, you lost your mom at that period of time when we was working together. But I'm like, I understand people that want to work through grief. And sometimes you feel like you have to be busy. But it is, I feel like on the anniversary of special days, their birthdays, the anniversary of someone passing, take those days. You know what I mean? Because you're working but you really aren't there. You on autopilot.
Yeah, yeah.
I want you to talk about that a little bit and just since then you've endured a lot more grief, but just journey through grief and what and how that's affected your walk today.
So as you stated, I lost my mom. My sister was a year younger than me. My little brother, who's 9 years younger than I am, he was 14 years old in high school. So it's like, okay, we all live in a home together, but navigate this middle school, high school kid. I had my own 2 children at the time who were 3 and 2, and my sister and brother who took it hard. And for me, I felt like, I couldn't control what happened to her. It's like, hey, she had a stroke. Some people survived. My mother didn't. How could I do something different? So if I couldn't help my at-home situation, I felt like, let me go to work and help someone else.
Yes.
That's the way I looked at it. Hey, if I can't help myself or my moment, let me go be of some assistance and help someone else. And going to work and doing those 10 or 12 hours, it actually took my mind off of things that I was dealing with. And I felt like if I stay busy, I can get myself through these things. There were times at work I may have had to go off in a room or into the bathroom and just go pray myself through. But being at work, and it's the honest to God truth. The word of God tells us this. We hear it all the time. Helping someone else or giving to someone else actually boosts up your momentum, helps with your serotonin level. And at the time, I believed in Christ. My walk wasn't as heavy. I wasn't believing, what I was reading. Those things was just words on paper. But as I started to build my relationship in Christ, I realized that God, He was always there. It was Him who was guiding me. And being at work and having those around me who some understood, some didn't, it actually helped to shape me. So when my sister died, she died 30 days before I got married. That one shook me to my core. So she died August 17, 2020. My husband and I got married on we got married. Lord, don't let him hear this. We got married September 19, 2020. We was going to get married later, but COVID came. So we decided, I said to him, so much tragedy is going on, so many bad things. We need something to boost us up. We need some happiness. How about we get married now? So the day we were supposed to go for our dress fitting was August 16th. And I called my sister and I'm like, she didn't answer the phone. She said, well, I'm not going to go. I'm not in a condition to go today. So here I am angry and mad at her because she was struggling through anxiety and depression. And I'm like, I hope she's not in one of her funks because it's selfish of her not to push herself through. So when I got up, got myself together for work on the 17th and I couldn't shake it. I kept telling my husband, like, I feel sick, like my head hurt, my stomach hurt, my body ache. I just don't know what it is. I'm taking my temperature, checking my blood, all my vitals are fine, but my body was just physically going through something. And I remember getting up that morning, him making me some soup, us watching TV, and I'm just sitting there reading First Chronicles 16 because I said, you know what, I just got to read the word. I just have to get here. And the doctor called me from Sinai as I was sitting there reading the word. Wow. We had poured down rain outside. I opened my window. I went to the window and I remember just praying through the rain. I sat back down and I got another call from Sinai. And I said, why do they keep calling me? And when I answered, it was a doctor. And he had told me that my sister was brought in a car, dead on arrival. And it shook me to my core because I realized what I was feeling that whole day was grief. Like the Holy Spirit was trying to show me what was going on. I was feeling what she was feeling. So I went through moments of anger. I was raged. I never lost my faith. I lost myself. and losing my sister because we were a year apart. I still had to get up and go to a job where her and I worked every day.
Yeah.
I had to deal with others who some days didn't know if they should hug me, if they should stay back, or what to do. And some people was just like, I don't know what to do because you're so normal right now. I don't know. Are you okay? And in that moment, I am okay. And I was angry at everyone for thinking that I'm not okay. But I had to say to myself, it had to be well with my soul because she was struggling with the anxiety and the depression. And for me, just going back and forth and trying to pull her out of those moments and out of those dark places, I actually felt bad because in that moment, I felt like it was a sigh of relief. So I felt a little better, like, oh my gosh, I feel a little relief because she went through a domestic relationship. She went through moments where she would take the antipsychotics or antidepressants, and then she wouldn't take it. And then sometimes she would just, I'm just going to drink wine and go to bed at night. So it was a snowball effect of trying to maintain my sanity and still get up and go to work. So again, going to work, that moment, grieving from her on the same job where I had to go and see her desk, where patients came in and would say, hey, Miss Sherrise, where's Miss Sharita? And I would say, oh, she passed away. And the little kids, some of them, little girl actually came and cried. And it's like, I had to console her and keep my own emotions to itself. So I actually took a month off of work. Grieving her was the hardest.
Yeah.
So I took a month off. At the time, the supervisor we had was, she worked with my sister on the unit and myself. And she said, you know what? I think you really may need to take some time for you. Yeah. So I had to actually take those 3 weeks, which was also like my honeymoon at the same time. I took 5 weeks because I realized that it's no way I can heal in an environment that's going to continue to make me sick. So I was able to use helping others and use my job at that moment as a distraction, or else, I'm not going to say a distraction. I'm going to say a form of healing. Yeah. But losing her, I had to actually step away and go into a period of my own self-isolation. Yes. And it helped me through, because losing my sister, who was a year younger than me, was like losing a child. And I had lost my first child at 19 years old to SIDS. So having a SIDS child, working with special needs children, I felt like I was always giving the parent something else. I would share my story about waking up and my baby not breathing and doing CPR on my own child who didn't revive. And a lot of the parents listened to my story and said, oh my God, my situation not that bad. Your child may have a G-tube, or your child may at the moment have a cerebral palsy, but you have a living being. And I have to go and grieve my child at a cemetery. So having that aspect of life of having moments where I lost my physical child and my sister who was like a child, and in the midst of losing my mom, and between all of that, it definitely put me in a different place of gratefulness. And it also sometimes put me in a different place of despair. Yeah.
Yeah. That's real. That's real. Yeah. You don't know, you can't fathom, the loss of the significant others. Like, you can have empathy. I think you can have empathy with people, but understanding what they're going through, and unless you've been through it, know what I mean? Even knowing what to do, like wanting to do something. I know I find myself in that space all the time of like, I don't even know, like, do I call? Do I not? Do I hug? Not? Do I, what I mean? Is this too much? Is it not? Those feelings are really real when you're trying to support someone that you know, that you love, and that you care about. That's true. And so I can just imagine, and you are such the heart, Sherrise, of everyone. So it's different seeing somebody that's always the one that's going to help somebody. Like, how do I help her? What am I supposed to do? And so
that was a big challenge for my marriage too, because my husband, who is like my go-to person, he is my best friend. And my sister and him was like best friends. So there were times where I felt like, hey, you didn't realize I need a moment today? And he's looking like, well, you didn't show it. And I'm big of not showing my emotions. So in 2025, this happened in 2024 because my mom's oldest sister, I was asleep, got a call that she was breathing funny. And I live 12 minutes away. I'm trying to rush to her. They doing CPR before I got there. And she was already dead. We doing CPR 25 minutes. So it was like, oh my God, here's something else to add in the book of a loss. And for a moment, I was focusing on so much of what I lost that I forgot so much that we had. So My husband at the time was like, I don't even know how to support you because it's like loss after loss after loss. I don't even know what to do. And me, I started stuffing my feelings and emotions. And I realized that I was a human jack in the box.
Yeah.
I'm stuffing everything. And with the least little thing that's pressed, everything comes out. And it's like, he's sitting here and I'm sitting here, oh my God, what emotion? What do I feel? What do I deal with first? Because now I didn't deal with it and it's all coming out.
Yes. And that's anger too. That's like you just
Yes.
attack
I was listen, yes. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a stuffer.
Yeah, yeah. I can definitely relate to that. That's why I wrote my book, What's in the Pit of Your Belly, because it's like you're so used to being a superwoman and going and being and doing all the things. And so it's like you don't really take the times. I love that you took time to grieve because we don't take the time that we need to process to understand that we got to take that superwoman cape off and be human today or for a month or for however long. You know what I mean?
And a black woman, it's hard for us as black women sometimes to really be vulnerable. Taking that vulnerability time, I realize now later at 40 years old, is important.
Yes, yes. And I'm glad that you and your husband were able to talk about it because a lot of times grief heirs divorce because that woman is so busy, holding all those feelings, holding all those emotions, and then she's attacking the man that loves her and trying to support her, but he don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
I pushed him away. I was like, go back. I was single when I dealt with all this other stuff. Now I'm married. I'm dealing with losing my sister while I'm married, losing my aunt while I'm married. And I lost my sister in August of 2020. Earlier that March, my grandmother, who was basically our backbone, the matriarch of our family, she ended up with a pulmonary embolism 3 weeks before they shut the world down, which we don't know if she actually had COVID. She was a former cigarette smoker, and it shook me to my core because when she had back pain and I wanted to take her to the ER, she wouldn't let me. So I blamed myself. This year is year 5. Actually, last week was her 5-year anniversary since we found out everything, and we didn't know how life was going to be. So here I go again, bringing work at home. Have my grandmother at home who's on oxygen now. We have to watch her oxygen. Now they saying that she may be pre-diabetic, stick her finger, watch the food. And my grandmother is the one who get up. She walkie-talkie, walks the street like us. And it paralyzed her, so it paralyzed us. And what it did was it paralyzed our mental because we're like, oh my God, what is really happening? So I grieved that. I was grieving that I should have taken her and not allowed her to make that decision for herself. I just let that grief go last year. I carried 4 years of grief. That's a lot of grief. That's 365 days times 4. That is too much,
Yes.
So it was a lot going on in that time. Then I got pregnant. My husband and I was trying for 4 years. We got pregnant. I suffered a miscarriage. And it was like I got hit after hit after hit,
I always say when the devil is that busy, honey, you know what I mean? Like that's just busy,
Yeah.
That busy,
I felt like Job.
Oh yeah. I could just imagine. I always I try to teach people when you're in that much, you're surrounded, you have to go to a place of gratefulness in the midst of the crazy. You know what I mean? You can't focus, because if you focus on what the loss is, if you focus on what you're actually going through, that will have your mind, like you said, 365, however many, for however long. People get stuck right there and stay until they die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stay there until they die. But if you can find something to focus on, and that beautiful baby boy was some joy that came in the midst of the crazy.
Yeah.
After you were trying and you got your bundle of joy. After all the loss, you got a little baby boy, beautiful spirit. Tell us about that.
I kept saying it. So my husband and I was trying since July of 2018. And I said, well, you know what? I'm done having kids. My children were middle school age. I was like, oh my gosh, he has no children. But I felt obligated to give my husband the one thing he desired. And I felt like we should have had our union baby. And we went through months where we didn't get pregnant. And I'm like, okay, after our relation test, negative pregnancy test, well, one of my coworkers said, she see a fertility doctor. We went, got tested and everything. of February of 2020, then the world got shut down. So I felt like, hey, we're going to try it on our own. Didn't happen. I felt like, you know what? Oh, maybe it's not in the cards for us. Maybe I'm being punished for something. But during that journey, I kept finding so many parents that came to the job that was struggling with the same thing. In the community, finding so many different women. So we were going through our journey. We actually went through one round of IVF and we got pregnant on our first go round. But oh my gosh, it was definitely a trying time because I felt like my body failed me. I felt like God didn't hear my prayers. You know, I said, God, I feel like Hannah right now. But I also feel like Sarah. And God actually took me deeper in the Bible to read the story of Leah and reading the story of Rachel. And I didn't realize that those women also suffered miscarriages and suffered trying to get pregnant. So through that journey, I said, all right, well, we're going to try it one time. If it don't happen, we're going to hang it up. And he is lucky number 9. That's what we call him. That's how we chose our 9th egg, got pregnant, had no issues. I mean, I swear I felt like I was the most healthiest giving birth. I had the epidural with my other pregnancies. With him, it was natural birth. I never breastfed the other kids, breastfed him, and we had a name picked out. But we gave him my husband's name, which is John. And John means what? God. Yeah. Right there. And it's like, I said, you know what? Yeah. This is it. This is it. So every time we say his name, I definitely hear, I'm reminded of the miracles of God. God with me. That's what John means. God is with me. And I said, I didn't realize that I was in a season of trying and testing. So having him has brought me different joy. Like he definitely filled the void that I had from losing my sister. Every day I come home from work, he has a different word. Every day I come home from work, he's done something different. And I'm able to take that joy to work because now life is life. And, you know, you have so much going on. People are afraid that healthcare won't be around because a lot of our patients won't have insurance. I'm allowing that to leave. I'm looking at videos of him every day at work just to give me a different motivation of where life is. Like, all hell look like it's breaking through. Just like looking at my son, he is the real promise at the end of that rainbow.
Yes, yes, honey, that is beautiful. Look, I'm like, oh my God, I can't start crying. I should have put no mascara on it.
Listen, I mean, we went through, and I gave up. I mean, my husband was a rock. I cried. I was like, I hate this. I'm not doing this again. I'm not sticking myself again. I got to stick myself with this many needles. And we did 3 IUIs. The first one in November 2020, unsuccessful. December 2020, I was like, we just found out what my sister died from. And I kept thinking that she killed herself the whole time. She didn't. So I was like, oh my God, sigh of relief. I thought these meds killed her. I thought she took too many meds. And I was like, oh my God, thank God that it wasn't it. But now it gave me a anxiety of my blood pressure because her blood pressure dropped, and that's how her heart gave out. So it freaked me out. So going through the fertility, I just kept saying, like, you know, can we make sure my heart's okay? I got an EKG, I got an echo, everything was fine. And using those things to keep going forth and say, all right, God has a promise for you, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I'm gonna get to the promise. And going and getting that first IVF and just sitting on that table looking, and I'm like, you know what, God, this has to be it. Because all hell is breaking through around me. Something has got to come out of this.
Yes, yes, that's right. It is, again, not focusing on what you're going through, but knowing what something is. You know, I do feel like when all hell is breaking loose, something is coming because he's too busy. You know what I mean? Too busy. I call it creating mirages for me. You know what I mean? Like throwing up, like, oh no, God doesn't love you. Look at what he did. You God want to look right. You lost this, you lost that, this, that, and the third. All this negative, you know, self-talk is up here. All the negative things. And if we focus on that, then we do get to a point. That's how people get to, like you thoughts of suicide and thoughts of, you know, what's the point anyway?
Hopelessness,
darkness, and you stay in that dark place because you're listening. Alcoholism, listening. Drugs, you're listening. You know what I mean? All of these things. And so it is so important. It's so important to know and to surround yourself. You use the word. I love that. Each and every time you use the word. And I love the fact that you were saying, you know, even before you knew God, you wasn't in the word like you, but you knew enough about God to know, okay. Okay. You know, Okay.
I lived and breathed Luke 145. Blessed is she who believes that the Lord has answered her prayers. I posted it everywhere, in my car, at my desk, in the bathroom. I used to walk around with, and my coworkers would look like, oh my gosh, like I ain't messing with her. Like, honey is on a mission. I had posters in my pocket, okay? Because when you going through those moments, self-love is what I see now. Self-love is what I needed. And I said, no one can help me through this. My husband is doing his best. I have friends, my best brother, coworker, Sydney, he's there. And I would come when I had a moment when I felt weak. I had to go really call on those, like, look, I just need prayer right now. I pray for everyone else, but hey, I'm coming. I need prayer for me. So having those posters in my pocket to just remind me of those things in my car. I literally went to the store and bought some mustard seeds. I had a sandwich bag of mustard seed that's over the visor in my car, that's posted to my my workstation, and I have in my room because I had to be reminded of the posters. Like not of the posters and the mustard seed, that this all I needed was this little bit of faith to get me through, and I had to lean on it.
Yes, yes, that is so.
I was giving people mustard seeds. I was like, listen, put your prayer in here. Yes.
Makes a difference. We literally just talked about mustard seeds Monday in Bible study, and that's exactly what my pastor said. We need some mustard seeds around here. So.
I'm telling you, it's the truth. I came one day. I had a prayer circle at home, and we did a Bible study, and I gave my sisters, my cousins, my brothers, everybody, my kids, even the little kids. I don't care if you 5. I put them in Ziploc bags, and I said, pray. Put this in your pocket. The kids was going to school with a Ziploc bag of mustard seed. I said, God, you gave it to me to spread because someone else needed to be reminded. And even here today, whatever you're dealing with, get you some mustard seeds. If you got to put whatever you're dealing with at that moment in that bag, leave it. I'm telling you, it's just like it takes the burden off of you. Manifestation is real.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. And that is faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, honey. That mustard seed is so tiny. It's so tiny, but all you need is just a little bit of faith. Like that is all.
Yeah. Oh, different.
And my thing is, whenever I'm walking through and I tell people, honey, I don't know how it's going to work out. I'm sorry, I can't tell you how long you're going to be in it. All I can tell you is that it's going to just keep walking. Because it's coming, it's going to be over. You want to see some light? If you feel like you in darkness, you want to see some light. Walking, boo. Just keep walking.
And the control freak in me would panic when I don't see that light. That's how the enemy was using me, because he knows that I'm a preparer. I love to be prepared. And like we take vacation, I'm the person, I got the itinerary from the time we stepping in where we going to the time we get back home. And it's just like I can't see myself through there. It's like, okay, God, you said walk by faith right now. I don't see it. So now I'm panicking. So I have to come back and say, you got to remind yourself. Some things aren't meant to see. And this walk right now with my infertility is what I wasn't supposed to see. That's why I believe I stayed in it so long as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That disobedience again.
Honey, I hear the song "Be Encouraged." Trials are just a test of your faith.
Yes.
Just a test of your faith. Girl, I got chills. I love this so much. I love this for you.
And what you said about the mirage, they are real, you know. And Adrienne, which is one of my good co-workers that became a sister, we all just got together, and she always used to say, like, you know, I got to beat this fear, false evidence appearing real. And we have to remind ourselves that, because in the moment, they feel real. Anxiety knocks on the door, and anxiety feels real. I started going where I was worried about my blood pressure, and I had numbers like 133/80, and I started panicking. Oh my God, my mom had a stroke. I'm gonna have a stroke. So every time my blood pressure would be a little elevated, my heart rate high, I'm running to the ER, and I know my angels are saying, "Here she go again. She at it again." But those again, it goes back to disobedience. You work in healthcare, you know numbers. Why are you freaking out? At the moment, it feels real. It seems real, and the enemy just grabs hold of your mind, and your word is still there, but the word is knocking on the door, but so is that mirage. And it seems like it's so evident, you know?
Yeah. In your head, it's so real.
Yes. Mental health.
And that's what I say. Anxiety is nothing but a story that you've made up in your mind.
And keep feeding it.
You have convinced yourself that it is true.
Yeah.
Facts. Like you said, you work in healthcare, you know, not the facts, just Nope, my mom passed from this and that. You.
Yep. And my sister, her blood, they didn't have a blood pressure. Hers dropped. My aunt just died April the 7th, and they kept saying couldn't get her blood pressure. So she stood up. It was her heart. And I had to remind myself. My husband said, Sherrise, you don't even take Tylenol. You don't drink. You don't smoke. What only thing you're going to die from is drinking a gallon of water a day or stressing. What makes you think you're going to drop dead? But in the moment, I felt so real. And he had to keep bringing it to me like, hey, stop. They all smoke cigarettes. My sister, my aunt, my mom. My mom and my aunt was diagnosed with COPD right before they died, emphysema. My sister just smoked cigarettes, and she was a little heavy. Oh, not that heavy, but she definitely was a little overweight and experienced sleep apnea. So they had all these issues. So stop. And I had to come to a place of realization that pre-existing issues are real, but that doesn't mean that you have to give into those diagnoses. And because they gave those diagnoses, other things and other factors is the reason why, they may have died. Definitely. So it definitely helped me along the way, getting past those moments. It was something I was about to say. I forgot. See how my train of thought left? That quick. It was something I was going to say back to. After I lost my sister, was like, you know what? They kept saying, you think you maybe talk to someone? You think you may be dealing with anxiety? And I'm like, my chest used to be so heavy. And I kept going to the doctors, and I went to a cardiologist because I was having pinching pains and heaviness in my heart. And us Black women, they say that heart attacks and strokes start there. Guess what? Grief is here. Grief is here. And the heaviness of grief affected my GI tract because I kept having burping, abdominal pain. I really thought something was wrong, but it was the grief I wasn't navigating through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And us as Black people, we don't go to therapy. I started saying I said, I ain't going to sit there and tell these people my business. Guess what? I see a therapist. It's every Friday. It's a white man, he's been my therapist for the last 4 years. And I feel like I had to open that up for me. And my family started going. Co-workers started going, those that I was mentoring in the ministry started going, and it's like, it needs to be talked about. You can have Jesus and a therapist.
That part.
Mm-hmm. I was wanting to say, I don't need a therapist. Yes, you do, because talking to your family and friends, they know you, and they're going to help you based upon they're familiar with you. They're going to base everything about what we knew or what we don't. When you talk to a therapist,
I said what they know about you. Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes you got to be careful because familiar won't give you what you need. Sometimes you need the raw truth, or you need someone to say, you've tried it that way. Let's try it my way, or try it our way. And having that to say, hey, you know what? You need to go to bed at time. You're not getting enough sleep. That's why you're stressed. You know what? I need you to drink a little bit more water today. I need you to eat. Have self-care. Take moments for yourself. Go to the mall by yourself. Those are things that my therapist gave me solutions that I'm like, I do that. No, do it for you, not no one else. Just go. And I found myself in nature so much more, like going to bodies of water and just like journaling, just going to bodies of water, praying. And I started writing out things that I was dealing with. And I would say, God, I'm going to leave it here today.
Yes.
It helped. Mm-hmm.
Yes, honey. Yes. Oh, my goodness.
Listen, seriously, life. A 4-letter word that means so much.
Yes. You're all the way up my alley. When I came here 10 years ago, I didn't know at that period of time, my big mama passed away. The year that I came in 2015, my big mama passed on.
I remember.
And then my dad passed a few months after that. I spiraled into depression, anxiety, and I started having panic attacks. I had no idea. And like you said, you feel like you're having a heart attack.
Oh my God.
All of these things that happen, but it made me. That is why Reflections Choosing Me Guilt-Free is here. That's why I do the podcast. That's why I do the radio show. That's why I do the 12-week program, because I'm so passionate about exactly what you said. You can be a Christian, because I'm one, and go through. Does it mean like it's so much stigma? You know what I mean? That was involved. And man, does this mean that I don't believe in God? Like, what is this?
Yes.
I can't
Your
say
faith gets tested. Mm-hmm.
But it makes you very much. But God, like you said, the Lord has put good therapists in this world for a reason. Right?
I was a busy Martha, honey. I was a busy Martha. And I was Martha I'm still Martha. I'm still get delivered. And my sister was married. She had the care in the world. I'm here to overthink. I'm worried about everything and everybody else. Martha, sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down, Martha. I'm having to tell myself that now. Sit down. You know?
Isn't it amazing though, once you start, because I call it just taking a very intentional look at yourself. You know what I mean? Taking a very intentional look at yourself. And sometimes you got to laugh, like you telling yourself, sit down, girl. Like, oh, you just need to go sleep. Just sit down.
Yeah. Nobody needs you. You need you. And I can't speak for others, but I noticed, like, I find myself, I got mom guilt. I have wife guilt. I have friend guilt. I have coworker guilt. Taking a moment for myself. So in 2025, I always try to give myself an inspirational word. So my word for this year was no. Last year, it was accountability. I'm going to be accountable forever. I'm holding other people accountability. The year before that, it was self-control. This year, it's no. I'm learning to say no because a lot of people, it's a 2-letter word, but it holds so much power. And a lot of my coworkers, it's only about, now that the other nurse left that was Black, it's only 3 Black girls and everyone else is Caucasian. And some of them has never been told no. And I realized I love drawing blood. I draw blood with my eyes closed and get the stick. But right now, I can't help you if I can't help Sherrise. I had to go back to the airplane. I'm on a plane. My job, my life, my marriage, everyone around me is riding this wave, this plane with me. I'm always giving to someone else. And I can't give to you guys, and I'm over here dying. No one recognizes that I'm drowning. You don't recognize that I'm down. It's, oh, I'm having a moment. Give Sherrise the day. Oh, I'm telling everybody, look, I'm falling apart. Oh, my God, I need a moment to myself. Give me. The next day, you think I'm bounced back because I'm smiling and I'm my chipper self. But I'm still healing internally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So I got to say no. And saying no has created chaos because some people don't realize no is creating a boundary. If you standing over here beside me and I say, can you back up? You're not going to say, why? You're going to back up, right? So if I say no, take my no as that same word. So this year, I'm taking time to say no. No to things, no to people. When the enemy try to come in my mind, no, not today. We ain't dying today. It's just indigestion. You know, it's you know?
Right. We're not dying today. It's just indigestion. Yes.
I literally had to start. And saying no, I realized it started to hurt others. And I realized me having a compassion and with thinking it's a compassion, I had to go back, God, that's a people pleasing spirit. Worrying about if you say no, how they gonna feel, or if I can't do it, saying no to my children at work, at home. I got grown kids. No, Eric, you can't use my car today. I want it. No. You was in college this semester, you would be in school. No. Telling to my husband, no, I'm not washing the bottles today. I'm tired. No, you're not getting a home cooked meal. You're gonna eat the leftover spaghetti. No, I cannot draw your patient. And I actually had to go to my director and say, listen, I told so and so no. She's not taking it a good way, but I had other things that I needed to deal with. And at this moment, I cannot stop my duties to help you because then I'm going to be drowning. So saying no right now has definitely been a big challenge, but it's been such a breath of fresh air.
Yes. Honey, we talk about this a lot too. Saying no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
Complete sentence.
I'm going to get a shirt made.
And the other part of it is no, without sometimes like at work, I can, understand, but getting to the point where you're okay with saying no, and that's it. Like it doesn't require explanation because this is how I got there. If you know that I'm the type of person that's gonna come and help you, and you are this, because your helper be like me. If you know that I'm the type of person that's gonna give and pour and give, if I'm saying no,
it's a reason.
It's a reason for that. Take
that.
Don't, because I'm showing up. So,
come on.
You know what I mean? So, and I had to fix that in my head. Like, I don't need to give you an explanation because if I could, if I could. You didn't just meet me.
Yes.
We didn't just meet. I've been the same all the time that you know me. So if I can do it, I'm going to do it. So if I'm saying no, then I really can do it. Don't do that. Don't try to make me feel guilty. Don't bring them
manipulation. Yes.
Manipulation is it's a demonic spirit, boo.
It is. And I called that spirit out. I said, wait, this done happened twice in 3 weeks, God. So you know what? It's those two people. Okay, thank you for showing me wolf and sheep clothing. You ain't got to show me again. I'm going to love you from afar because that's what I'm here for. I'm going to help you. But once you see I pull back and then you realize, oh, my help not here. I don't know what to do. Like this happened at work. I went to my director that day. Hey, let me let you know. I said no. I shouldn't have to give an explanation. And the person, I feel like I shouldn't have to give you an explanation. So guess what? You can't handle no. So the next time I said I'm unavailable. Ooh, I got you. I didn't say no. I said I'm unavailable. So you fell apart. Unavailable is still no, but it's a nicer word. And people will try to go beyond your boundaries and make you feel bad for trying to set some standards for yourself.
It is really, really hard. And I do feel like you'll be tested, especially when you first started. I'm 40.
Yeah.
I'm 47. You're 40 right now.
Yeah.
At 40 years old, I started setting boundaries. Just 7 years ago. My whole life, I had not.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But at 40 years old, something shifted. It's something about 40, girl. But
awakening.
I'm trying to teach my younger. You know, I'm with Marley right now. Like, let me show you how to know this is a boundary.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Even with mama, like you have to, it doesn't matter who it is, because again, the manipulation, shame and guilt will come out. But I sit grace and mercy on shame and guilt. Twins go, grace and mercy comes. Give yourself some grace. You can't do everything.
Yes.
Right. And then the other part, when you are a people pleaser, the other part that happens is that you do feel guilty. And you have to start saying to yourself, there's something about being chosen. This is another layer. There's something about being chosen for everything and knowing that you are the best, or knowing that people come. You want to be that person. It's something, you know what I mean? You like that. That feeds your ego. But I can't do everything. And that is okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right? Somebody else can shine. Somebody else can do it. It's
you have to learn to grow through this. And that's what I said. I said, use this as a learning curve for whatever. If I said, no, I ain't cooking dinner, no, I ain't drawing blood, no, I ain't ready to run out into the parking lot and get the mother that's cussing out the doctor that y'all know she only like me. No, you gonna have to figure that out today. And they looking like, no, baby, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes. And it helps. What I found is that when you take a step back, it gives permission for other people to shine as well, to go and grow and strengthen their wings, because they giving it to you. You know what I mean? No, honey, like don't go have that uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
You need to understand, why is God putting you in position to go have that uncomfortable conversation. They can talk to a difficult parent. How long we been here?
Yes. Consultation comes everywhere. You can be standing in Walmart and have a difficult conversation with the cashier. You have got to learn how to navigate. And I told people, I'm sorry, I can't teach you. That's a gift that God gave me. But you can learn some service recovery as well. Compassion, use some small words, find some different language, but you have to use it. It's all around us. It don't stop at home. It don't stop at work. It keeps going.
Yes, it's very important, sweetie. Very important. And saying, you feel guilty. That was me. I always felt guilty about, I was like, oh, can I say that? Oh, And some people, and the other thing that I've found, especially sometimes with family and different things, or people that you're really, really close to, and they've never heard it from you, they do get offended.
Yeah.
And some take it well and some are not, and that's okay as well.
You
know what I mean? Like, that's okay as well. And so your peace of mind, right? When you get to the other side of no is peace. Like down that no road, peace down there.
Listen, I'm searching. I'm coming for it. I ain't gonna say I'm searching. I searched it. I found it. I'm coming for that side of peace. Okay. I'm on that road.
Peace is down there. And honey, once you find it, once you get to peace, girl, you be like, baby, I don't care what. You're going to be like.
No. I'm looking forward to it. I'm on that journey, and I'm not coming off. I'm not getting manipulated and guilt tripped anymore. I swear I'm gonna find me a shirt that say no is a 2-letter word, big power. Like no.
Period. No is a
I
sentence.
said I'm gonna start putting that around my desk so everybody they can walk up. I just want y'all to be like, no, 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 no. Like, you know. Like a 2-year-old. No, 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 no.
Hey, let's go back to no, 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 no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no.
Yes. Take you there.
I love it. I love this journey and this transformation that you're on. I love your healing journey. You know, I love the fact that you have allowed yourself to be loved. I want to just tap in this real quick because, you know, being single for a long time, your kids are 20 years apart, right? The baby?
Yeah. Well, my 18 years.
18 years.
Yep. Yes.
I was 14 years, but I was in a space when I had Marley, you know, I call it messing around with that love stuff.
Mm-hmm.
With the love stuff, girl. Everything you be like, I ain't never do that love
I said,
stuff.
now I'm not evening it out. We're gonna be uneven with these three because I ain't going back down that road, honey. Geriatric road, pregnancy. No, I'm done.
But I want to go to allowing yourself to be loved and what that process looked like for you, because it's some women out there, and even myself, when you talk about fear, I always say, and I talk about this often now because I just feel like it's just so important. When I realized that fear was driving my life, like not only was it my life, but it was steering me every which way, you know.
Same here.
Relationships, right? When I realized that fear was controlling, and I was like, man, I thought I was over that. I thought I had healed from that. Or I thought I had moved on from that, but I really hadn't, right? Because I wasn't allowing myself to fully be loved. I was saying, oh, I don't want to be married again. Oh, I ain't never doing that again. But it wasn't that I didn't want to be married again. It was that I didn't want to be hurt again. I wasn't going to put myself in a position to be hurt again. So I want you to talk a little bit about that journey and how you have even got to the point of marriage where you allowed yourself to be loved.
Well, first, my husband is persistent. Like he wouldn't let it go. And I was just like, I found when they talk about pick a man apart, that was me. I felt everything that I didn't like about him, or everything that I could not like about him. And my good girlfriend, Tiffany, said, Reese, you are nothing but a picker. Stop. You trying to pick this man apart. This man will drink your dirty bath water. He loved you so much. I met him. My daughter is 18 and a half. I met her when she was 2. And then my mom had just died. And I met him right after that. He was very genuine about everything. But I didn't like that he smoked cigarettes. Mind you, my mom just died from COPD. Yes. So I was like, oh, I don't deal with him. He smoked cigarettes. Oh, and he drink beer? Oh, no. I think I smell weed on him. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't like none of that. So those were outward things. I didn't even look at his heart. I just kept looking at the outward. Everything that I didn't care about him. Well, he came back about 3-4 years later. He always was connected around. And him and my sister will always stay in touch. And he would say to my grandmother, like, that's my wife. I love her. I'm telling you, I'm going to marry her. I'm going to marry her. And I kept saying, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm like, you're not going to marry. I'm like, who you marry? Boy, I'm not marrying nobody. I'm not having nobody else's kids. You lost your mind thinking that I'm going to marry you and have some more kids. Well, this man was persistent. We went to my cousin's wedding, who we share. Him and my cousin were friends, and we shared a couple of mutual friends. He was there. And I said, he do look good in a student tie. And from that point on, he would come. I would be talking to him on the phone, running late for work with the kids, and I would come out my house. He was parked out front and say, hey, kids, come on. I'm going to drop the kids off to work. I got breakfast for you on your seat. Have a nice day. And I wasn't used to this because I used to be the provider.
Take something off my list. I know that's right.
Listen, and I was navigating through, like I said, my sister with her challenges of her anxiety and depression, and we had 4 kids going through 4 different schools. My 2 kids were going to elementary and middle school. My nieces were in 2 different elementary schools, and he would go take my sister kids to school, pick them up. He would pop up at my job with lunch for me. We would sit and eat lunch, and he would get lunch for the office. And I'm like, this man, he listening. I need to do laundry. He would stop past to my grandmother and say, I know Sherrise need to wash the kids' uniforms. Could you give me that bag? I'm going to wash their clothes. It would come back home. And I was so guarded that I was like, why are you trying to wash me and my kids' clothes? Why are you trying to wash my kids' underwear? What is wrong with him? He has no children, none, zip zero, the oldest child. And I said, he must be a player. He might got some secret kids. Or what is it with him? Something got to be wrong with him. How is it he's 30-something years old and he don't got no children? He ain't married. What is wrong with him? And my pastor met him for the first time. He did a moving hall and he said, Reese. She said, Reese, that's your king right there. I was at work praying. I would pray every day before my shift start, wipe my area down, go in the bathroom and pray. We was on a prayer line and I'm praying and God gave me a glimpse of my husband, a dark-skinned black man, short haircut with a black and white suit on. And at the time, my kid's father, light brown skin. And I said, wait a minute, this ain't him. I said, well, man, my kids, and I knew me and my kid's father was back and forth so much, and our relationship was what you would like to call a toxic situationship. He was the only child, he was spoiled, and it was almost like having a third child. So when I met John, it was like, is he gonna be another child because he don't got no kids? I'm not playing build a man. I did that before. I had Eric, we were together since we were high school sweethearts from 10, 15 years old to 30, 32. I don't have time. But he was persistent. Like he listened. When I say he listened, it's to the point where I was never vulnerable about things that troubled me, about being feared. Throughout the deaths of, like I said, my aunt, my sister, my grandmother with her PE, us losing the baby, from my 18-year-old deciding to pick up and go to school in Virginia, I was able to be vulnerable with him and actually let my guard down and cry and not feel judged. And now I feel like my human punching bag. So I got to go back and fix those things because I haven't been walking in Ephesians 4 and 5 with my husband. But he showed me that it was okay to have faith in him. And he kept saying, I'm not the last person. Look at me. I really love you. I don't want nobody else but you. Your children are my children. I want them. And he even took in my family. You know, he took in my family. He took some of those burdens off of me when it was time to go to my grandmother's house and drop off groceries because she's on oxygen, couldn't get out. He would call me, hey, I just want you to know I stopped past your grandmother's house and I got her breakfast. I know she likes so and so. Things that I would have to do when I came home, like the house was clean, laundry was done, dinner was done. All I had to do was come home, take a shower, and go to bed. I wasn't used to those things.
Yes.
And we just brought our first home in September. We had our baby in February of 2023, bought our first home in September 2023. And living in our townhouse, I wasn't used to it. I was used to being a sole provider, doing everything. So I didn't know what it felt like to not have to pay dues. I was like, wait, you didn't tell me I got to keep my paycheck? He didn't pay the what? He didn't pay everything. I ain't got worried. So all of those things, yes, it was hard. It was hard allowing because I was like, he would any moment throw it in my face. Ain't he gonna say, oh, didn't I pay the car payment? Didn't I put gas in the car? But I ain't had that problem. So it was hard to come from a place of doing everything on your own to allowing and accepting someone else to really love you, to really, really, really love you.
Yes. Yes, honey. Oh my God, my heart is so happy for you. I'm looking at the pictures. I'm like, yeah.
Look, every time I got married, I was like, he is a good man taking the shot. Like, he is a good man taking up a needle, you know, when it was going through the IVF. But after I had the baby, it was like, all right, he better pay attention. Look, but we had going through the postpartum, we had rocky moments because, again, I had fears because I lost my first baby. So I didn't get an apnea monitor with John. I got one with my first two because they all shared the same dad. So I didn't get an acne monitor with him and I wouldn't sleep. And he would tell me to go to sleep. We would go to the pediatrician. They like, you got to sleep. You got to give the baby to someone for an hour or two. And I wouldn't sleep. And my husband didn't understand the moment. He didn't understand postpartum anxiety. And I had postpartum rage and didn't moved my grandmother and my aunt in our house with us to help out. And they were helping me, which caused tension with him because he felt like he was useless now. So now that the baby's we're trying to repair what we lost of a year and a half.
That bonding time. Yeah, this is very significant because a lot of mothers do this because we don't realize as women that the fathers need that bonding time too. Because we think this is my baby, this is this, and in your mind, I'm sure, of course, you're going back to that grief and those feelings and all of the things. It's hard.
I didn't need to give him a chance to.
It shuts that off, and so it takes away that bonding time. You know. Important for them to have their own relationship because they got to have their own relationship with the baby.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that at least that you're recognizing it.
So for me, telling him how I needed to be helped was a big challenge because he felt like he was helping me, and I had to tell him, "This is not helping me. I need you to help me how I'm telling you to help me. And if it's not working, then we can figure out a different routine. But hey, having a new baby, dealing with all the other challenges and things, this is the way I need you to help me." And I felt like at the time my husband wasn't hearing me or listening to me or feeling like he wanted to do things his way. So because of that, it definitely caused us to have a lot of friction and draw a lot of wedge. And now that the baby's 2 and he's up and he's walking, running around doing different things, I do sometimes find myself feeling as if like, oh no, it's my way. You need to do it how I want you to do it. And reminding myself that you ain't no single mother. You got a husband, and he has a say. So I find myself there. Yeah, I put my foot in my mouth, like, oh, I have to be quiet. He said he doesn't want him to have this, so I have to listen to him. He doesn't want him to eat this. He wants him to eat that. He has to say so too.
That's right.
So it was different. It definitely was different. And going back, I'm like, y'all, I ain't having no more kids. This last one, it was different. The whole having him there from beginning to end.
Yes.
From the beginning of the conception to the delivery to just it still being here, it's just like mind blowing.
Yeah.
These are things when you really sit here and say, I'm really living out my prayer, I'm living out my dream. Yeah, we all had arguments and disagreements and things. That's life. But really realizing that I'm really living out my dream. It's definitely, it puts you in a different place of gratefulness and gratitude. Being upset, oh my gosh, I don't have no more water in the house. I gotta go to the store and get water. No, I have a house. My husband can go get the water. I ain't got to get the water today. Oh, I don't have to be the man. I don't have to move the couch. I ain't got to cut the grass. I ain't got to get gas. Yeah.
Yes.
The little things we take for granted that we forget.
Yes. The other thing is, what I found is in my own self-reflection, when you're used to doing everything, hard to turn that off. But the deep layer in that is the feeling like you have to control everything stems from childhood, when you've been in so many situations that you don't have any control in. You try to control everything. Because I used to have people say, why are you trying to control everything? Why are you thinking, why you got to do this? Why you got to? So for me, if somebody is saying something to me, then that's okay, let me look at that. I don't get offended. I'm like, okay, let me look and see. Is that true? Is it not? I don't take on everybody's spirit and what you're telling me. I'm going to pray about it. Okay, somebody's saying this to me. Is this genuine? Or is this like the enemy trying to, mess?
And they try to come. Oh, you just a Taurus. Go ahead.
Right. But when I look at it, so when I kept hearing, I always hear it in threes. If I hear it in threes, and I'm like, okay, that's my Trinity. Let me pay attention to this.
Yeah.
Why are you always trying to control everything? Or why do you feel like you have to control everything? And I'm like, at first I was like, well, I don't feel like I got to control everything, but but when I started very intentionally looking at it and studying that, right, it is when you have been in a situation, and especially it stems back to childhood generally, but when you've been in a situation when you haven't had any control, you didn't have any control over the loss of your mom, you didn't have any control over your aunt and the different things that was going on with her, seeing stuff at such a young age, when you had control over, losing your own child, like all of these things, like back to back experiences that you didn't have any control over. I got to control something subconsciously.
Yes.
I got to control. I got to fix it. I got to do it. I got to, you know what I mean? That it's a subconscious thing that happened and we don't even realize.
It's a defense mechanism that just goes up.
Yes, it's very subconscious defense mechanism. It's protection, mechanism. And so you got to do it my way. You know what I mean? I know best. I'm telling you, so you don't get hurt, so nothing happens, because I know this works. You know what I mean? Like all those things, very, very normal, for people that have been through so much, that have gone through childhood trauma, that have been in a situation again where there's been a loss of control. And so I'm so grateful. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of relationships, and people have no idea that they're pushing this person that loves you so much away. It's because it's in the subconscious mind, and we're doing all these things. And so I love the fact that y'all have the communication, that you are doing the self-work, to figure out let me get myself together. Let me love myself a little more. Let me take some time. Let me set some boundaries. Let me communicate more. It's all the things that are necessary, you know, all the things that are necessary. So we are wrapping up, girl. This conversation it's just been, I feel full. I feel so full. Full. It's beautiful again to see, you know, all the things that you've gone through, all the things that you've endured, and you still are, you know, your beautiful spirit, still helping, still what can I do, still pouring. But
Yeah.
that what's Ayanna Van Zandt, I say this all the time. Ayanna Van Zandt says, what's in the cup is mine, but what comes out of the cup is for y'all. But what's in the cup is mine. So take it
I love it.
to keep your cup full so that you can pour and help others.
Yes.
I love this for
I
you.
like that. What's in the cup is mine. What I pour out is yours.
My favorite clip. It's my favorite clip because I
Please
was
send that over here, hubby.
I was like,
Send that over here. Because I need love. Let me post. I need that post back. Send it over.
yes, I use it in my program because I'm just like, honey, that's revelational for people pleasers.
Yes. Yes.
And so as we wrap up, I've been asking each and every woman this month to share with another woman what is your greatest lesson that you've learned along the way. And it could be more than one, but the name of the series is Lessons and Blessings. And so what is your greatest lesson that you feel you've learned thus far?
My greatest lesson that I feel like I've learned right now thus far, it's okay to put you first.
Wow. Yes.
It's okay to put you first. I spent my whole life, I didn't even realize, even in childhood, putting everyone before me. And it's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to take care of you. It's okay to take care of your mind, to take care of your heart. And the biggest thing is, no one is responsible for your happiness and joy but you.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. That's huge. Look, that's huge right there.
Yeah.
Again, another reason why I started this reflections, choosing me guilt-free.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Reflections, choosing me guilt-free because we feel so guilty, you know,
Yeah.
when we choose ourselves, and it is so important, honey. Thank you. Look, y'all
You're
see her
so
rocking.
welcome.
Listen, you see her rocking now because the baby done came. He said, listen, my time, y'all done
Yeah.
talk enough now. I need my time. Yeah,
He
I don't
sleep
know what
here.
y'all
He
doing, but
sleep
my
now.
time.
I told him 2 minutes. Soon he get over here with me. It's like he gotta smell me, touch me. He sleep. Look, he said if I done had my time, my mother gave you yours, my time now. I'm gonna give him his time though. But it was such a blessing. Like I definitely feel again when you go and you share things about yourself that you okay with or some things that you didn't even realize that you were comfortable or uncomfortable with. I'm free today. I'm
Yes,
free. Things that I didn't even realize I needed to be free from. I
yes,
am free.
yes, yes,
Free as
honey.
can be. And I so hope this helps someone who may have been dealing with like mom guilt, self guilt, who've been dealing with some guilt, some trauma, who's even been dealing with the pressures of work
Yes,
to just come back, recircle, love yourself, guilt free. And thank
yes,
you, Michelle, for opening this forum, for having me and all the others that we can just come back and just listen to over and over again. Not nothing we just hear for one day, but to come
yes.
back. So you go things as our momentum for the week or for our day. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, honey. You're welcome. Thank you. I know
You're
I had
welcome.
no idea. Look, and when I left as your manager 10 years ago, that God would have me doing this, I had no idea. But
Yes, listen,
I'm gonna try.
journeys,
Yeah.
journeys, and all the way. You had to change your zip code to change some things, okay? And you still reaching women here, still reaching women here in Maryland. You know, this
Yeah.
isn't just for Texas, a worldwide thing. So we can share, share, share.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Yes, it is. Thank you, honey. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you. Look, well, family, I've been telling y'all all month, I know amazing, phenomenal women.
Yeah.
I said, why? Why? You know, there are so many women that I could, you know, have focused on this month, but why not talk to the beautiful, amazing women that have been in my life, you know, that are in my life, that have inspired and empowered my walk, that I look and watch and like, oh, you know, And so again, Sherrise, just watching your story and your journey, I just thank you. Thank you for your willingness. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for always being who you are. You know what I mean? With
Thank
that
you.
love and that giving spirit. And just like I said earlier, the way that you love your family has always inspired me. Sherrise was like, I don't care what's going on. Grandma need this. I got to go.
I'll be back. I'll
Grandma.
be back.
But the one thing I remember very early on when I was like manager and everything is y'all family pictures and everything. And I was like, oh, they are so cute. And it was just, you could see the love, within in your family and where that starts. And it's just the foundation of all that. And it's just inspiring. Some people don't have that. You know what I mean? Some people don't have that. And it's just a blessing. It's a blessing to see and a blessing to watch and to watch you grow, honey.
Yes, thank you so much.
So, yes. Well, family, look, we wrapping up. Look, Sherrise got to go. The baby said, I need my time.
Yes.
So I will let you
Like
go,
next
honey.
time.
But thank you so much again. I love you to life.
You're so welcome. Thank you all.
I pray and wish and wish all of your dreams and all of the things that you need and you want to come true. And just continue on this journey. You know what I mean? Continue on this journey. All right, boo. Well, family, what did I say? Look, I told y'all, like, I know amazing women, honey, and mothers don't stop mothering. Okay, mothers don't. And that's the beautiful part. Mothers do not stop mothering. But Sherrise is a beautiful spirit, as you see, in all that she has endured. She could be angry and she could be bitter and she could be, but, and all throughout, what I want you to really take in is all throughout this hour, she was referencing scriptures. She was referencing ladies in the Bible. That is one thing that my pastor talks about all the time. And it's not about like forcing you, right? But I do feel like if God is leading you to a message, if you're here, again, Michelle D.I. for Divine Intervention, honey, God is not a just because God. I don't know who out there need, to get into your word a little bit more, to lean in, is trying to figure out, how am I going to get through this, right? How did she get through that? The loss, so many losses. She was leaning on the word. Somebody that is in the darkness, like I said, walking, right? In darkness, trying to figure out, how am I going to get through? Sharice's prime example. I'm an example. There are many women in this series that are examples, honey. That is why we're doing the series, because I want you to see very purposely that there are women, there are people, men, right? Day to day, every day working hard women, good people that are going through, right? How are they getting through? How are they making it? How am I going to make it? That's what I want you to take from this is, oh, she made it. Oh, she did that. Oh, I can do that too. Oh, I know I'm going to make it. I don't know when I'm going to make it. Faith, right? I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I know that I am, because I can see it, because I've seen it. It wasn't some superstar, even though they're human too, right? But this is a girl from the west side of Baltimore, baby. Just like your girl from the west side of Bmore, the inner city, right? In situations and being loved, allowing herself to love again. I love it. God is amazing. He is amazing, honey. And when you allow him to come into your life, all of the things that come after that is endless. Endless. So what is your story? What's going to happen when you really and truly allow yourself? And I'm talking to you and I'm talking to me, right? We really truly allow ourselves to let God's love just fill us, to come in like that door is open. What does that look like for you? If you need a star, I actually was just watching Jonathan Majors for the men. I literally was just watching before this interview, Jonathan Majors on the Breakfast Club. And he talked about having some darkness in his heart. He talked about walking in purpose, but not fully being able to allow himself because he didn't know how much the trauma that he had from his past had affected his life. And since he's been taking an inner look at himself, going to therapy, right? Acknowledging some things, he's created groups for other men, support groups. He is truly happy. The glow on his face is amazing. He just got married because he allowed himself to be loved in a way he had never allowed in his whole life. He didn't even know it existed. That's what this healing journey does. That's what Sherrise is talking about, how she's allowing herself to be loved right now, right? You can do the same thing. I pray that for you. I pray that for you. I pray it for me. All right. I pray it for you as I pray it for me, honey. I'm not stingy. We can both have it. That's where I'm at with it. Family, it's almost the end of the month. Like, I just don't almost want this to end. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to continue it, honey. But this month, this is what we're doing, honey. Who knows where the Lord is going to lead me to next. But this month is the series Lessons and Blessings, honey. Yes, if you haven't seen any of the other amazing women, no problem, boo. I got you. Go to the YouTube channel, Reflections Choosing Me, Guilt-Free. That's Reflections CMGF. And let somebody else's story inspire and empower you, honey, because that's the purpose this month. You know how your girl do? I aspire to inspire until I expire, just like Mr. Les Brown, honey. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, what you doing? Yeah, have a good one. See you tomorrow.